Behind the Design, episode 6. I'm going to show you how I turn this into this. Yeah, he thought I was going to be in front of that black table showing these hands, but not today. This episode is going to be more of a story time. There's not going to be any technical knowledge or any deep dive into fabrics or patterns. Because Aya told me I should step in front of the camera when I do these Behind the Design episodes. And because this is a sensitive topic, Tasha told me that I'm very capable of expressing myself without using profanity. So we're going to keep it PG-13. But today is all about the Bears. So let's get into it. Back in 2021, I was strolling to Target. And for some reason, I ended up on the toy aisle. And I saw this teddy bear, and I was like, I wonder if I can make that. So I took it home. And one thing about me, I learned how to sew through reverse engineering things. I figured if I can take it apart, I can put it back together again. So I went and took it home, but I got intimidated by it, honestly. For some reason, even though I've made all kind of things, I just wasn't sure if I could execute it because it was a smaller bear and it was my first time doing it. So I put it on the shelf, and that was that. Around that time, but actually a year prior in 2020, my oldest brother had invited me to play basketball at Central Park downtown in Atlanta. So from 2020 until up to that point, I was playing basketball at this court pretty much every weekend during the summers, right? So let's fast forward to 2022. One of the guys that I had been playing with for the past 2 years finally decided to have a conversation, and he asked me, he was like, "What's up, man? What do you do? What are you into?" And I told him I was a fashion designer, but I make all kind of other things. And he told me he was a painter and artist, mostly with kind of graffiti and with spray paints. So once he told me that he was a painter, he said he had been wanting to do something like a bear brick or a cause bear. And I told him, well, I make all kind of things. And I had started making a bear last year, but I had just stopped. But I can make a bear out of canvas, and then you can just do your graffiti spray painting thing on it. And he was like, cool, bet, let's do that. And so we talked about doing a project together. I would get the lion's share of the money, and he would get I would get 60%, and he would get 40%. And so I proceeded to make 5 bears out of canvas, big 5-foot bears, 4.5 feet actually. So that whole week he was hitting me up like, hey man, you finished the bears? I'm finished with the bears. I got buyers lined up, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, cool. So mind you, I see him every weekend to play basketball. So when that next week came around, I finished the bears, I dropped them off to him. He was actually working on this other project. So I dropped the bears off, and he actually started spray painting them right in front of me. And he was doing his thing, and full disclosure, I wasn't feeling it, but he said he had a big following and that people were already waiting to buy and spend money. So I was like, okay, let's just get this money real quick. So he paints them, and then I don't hear from him for a week later, right? Mind you, before I made the bears, he was hitting me every single day. So when that next week comes around, that weekend comes around, we're at the basketball court. I see him, he sees me, he didn't really say anything. And I see one of his homeboys, and his homeboy comes up to me and was like, hey, what's up, man? You did your thing on the bears. We went ahead and did the trademark, and we also filed the paperwork for the LLC. And so apparently they had been doing these business moves without even mentioning me. Mind you, I was supposed to get 60% of this whole thing. And so as his friend starts talking to me about this, the guy comes up, and I think he overheard what he was saying. So he was like, oh, yeah, man. We're handling the business. We're taking care of things. I just decided to get things in motion. You know me, I play dumb, but I'm far from it, right? So I'm just like, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, that's what's up. And so we play ball, whatever. So about a couple of days later, I see the vibe of where things are going. I'm like, how about this? We originally had an agreement of you pay me 60 and you take 40. But how about this? How about I just cut that rate in half? You pay me half of what we originally paid, and we'll just do it like a work for hire thing. You just pay me up front, you pay me for the bears, and then you do your thing. You can keep all the rest of the money. And at that point, he was like, really, you ain't worth that much. I can do all this stuff without you. So that's how he kicked it at that point. Mind you, beforehand, he was going to pay me double. But when I changed it to him paying me half, now he's saying that I'm not even worth that, right? So he proceeds to tell me, you ain't nothing. You ain't never going to be nothing. I'm bigger than you. Nobody knows who you are. My following is bigger than yours. I got more money than you. He starts flashing. Like, this is over the phone. He starts flashing, I guess, all the money he supposedly made from selling the 5 canvas bears that I made originally. And so I decided from there I was just going to do my own thing and execute my own vision with the bears, with my crazy fabrics. And apparently he had a young lady reverse engineer them, and bless her heart, she did what she could, but it doesn't compare to what I do. But since then, I had made adjustments to the silhouette further and, to my liking. But after that, I would still go up to the court, right, and I would see him. And so we weren't on speaking terms. I wouldn't say anything to him, so I just decided to take it out on him on the court. And a lot of people that know me, like, I'm real quiet, but I can turn up when I want to, right? And I just had to show him that he couldn't outsmart me, out-talk me, out-physical me. He can't beat me in basketball. He damn sure can't beat my ass, right? So I just had to make it clear to him. So a lot of other people saw a whole different side to me that they'd never seen before. And he did too. And I just had to remind them, like, I just have class, I have sense. But I can get on the same thing you on. But yeah, it was funny. I'm pretty sure he was embarrassed. And some of my friends, some of my homegirls after that was telling me not to even come up there anymore because there's really only one way it can go, because my wittiness and the fact that you just can't beat me in basketball and you don't want to fight me is just only one way it can go, so I just stopped going up there. But since then, we're over 100 bears deep. I've done a few art exhibits. Things are going well. I originally thought it was going to just be this crazy idea that I had in my head, but now I'm seeing that people are really responding to it. They appreciate it. And my idea wasn't so crazy after all. So I have a lot of big ideas coming up in the future, and I'm just excited about showing you everything that I have in store for y'all. One thing that I don't do often that I'm going to do today, one time only, is a lot of the fabrics I use for these bears are couture fabrics and even designer fabrics from popular brands. Tom Ford, Rick Owens, you name it. I don't like to mention that because I never wanted to be that guy who just took apart Louis Vuitton fabric or took Louis or Gucci scarves or Dior scarves and turned it into something. Because at the end of the day, I felt like if I were to do that, then people aren't coming to me for me. I'm just a way for them to get to these brands, But if you look at some of these images, you'll see that some of these bears and fabrics I have are the same fabrics that were used in these past collections. But for those of you that have been tuned in, you'll see that I make bears out of ordinary everyday fabrics, or even some wools or repurposed denim that I'll get from a thrift store. I wash it and then turn it into a bear. And I just had to remind myself that my artwork and my ideas are valuable no matter what medium I'm using. Like a lot of the paintings we see in these museums and these fancy exhibits, they're not made with the best canvases in the world or the best paints in the world. That's not what makes it valuable. What makes it valuable is the artist's point of view and the ideas they executed with said material. So I had to realize that my work is valuable no matter what mediums I use, no matter what materials I use, no matter what fabrics I use. If I just find some fabric in a bag somewhere, it's my imagination, my creativity, my point of view that gives it value. Because without me, it's just pieces of fiber just sitting in a bag or sitting on a roll. And it's me that actually brings it to life. So that was the story today. I think it's a little shorter than my other videos. It's probably maybe 8 minutes or so. But as always, I appreciate y'all for tuning in and just taking an interest into what I do. This is going to wrap up the first series of Behind the Design with these 6 episodes. I'll probably do them in groups of 6 moving forward. But drop some comments. Let me know what you want to see next, what kind of pieces you want to see. It doesn't have to be things I made already. I can just make new things, and then after I finish it, I can talk to you about the design process and the execution. So comment, like, share with your friends if you feel inclined to do so, and I'll see you next time. I forgot to mention that when I first started making the bears, I made these big ones first. I made a lot of tweaks to the silhouette to make it a little more human-like, to give it more human proportions. They all have a zipper in the back. But after I made a few of these bears, I decided to make one that's smaller, that was a little more manageable, because these can be pretty overwhelming. It's like the size of a human being, pretty much. But yeah, we started with these, and then we went smaller with the mini bears, and then we just went crazy from there. Also, if you want to know how I got my bears into the hotel, just drop a comment below, and I'll let you know how all that unfolded.